Everyone. This is Kristen Feltz with Child 360, and I have my colleague here.
Hi there, I'm Sally Grimaldi. I'm with Child 360. Not good morning, good afternoon. We're so excited to have you with us. Today we're going to be talking about maximizing your intake process a little bit. So we're going to give you 5 tips. And the first tip is maximizing the intake process. And we know Head Start has an amazing system in place, and you guys use your intake forms, and you do all that so you can get all that information from your families, and that's how you onboard your clients, right? You get your families involved, you get all their information, and you start getting them qualified into your program. Some of the things we want. Is there a question? No, we're good. One of the things we really want you guys to think about is when you are actually onboarding your clients and your families, and you make sure that they're obviously a good fit for your services and that you meet their needs. Think about how everything works for your families. Is your process accessible? Is it easy for them to access? A lot of programs have it so that the parents can do it on their phones now. Everybody does everything on the smartphones, right? So can they do it on their phones? Can they, for the old school people like me, the ones who like to hold a piece of paper in their hand, are they able to access it that way as well? Thinking about your forms, is everything easy for them to understand? It's so important that it's easy, because it not only helps you because it avoids all those extra phone calls they make to try to understand, but also to make sure it's complete. When you put that information out to your families, do they know everything that they need to have in place and ready for you, so that it's a one-step process for them, so that it's very easy? Also, you know your clients better than anybody. You know your families that you serve that are in your communities. Are we offering all of our forms in the languages that meet their needs? So multiple languages is super important for you. So those are some things to think about. Next slide. Once you get them in and that intake process is complete, it's not over. That's just really where it all begins for you, right? So how does your program proceed? What comes next for you? Does your program have a system in place? Do you actually know, saying Maria is the one who does the first reach to the family, the next contact with that family is going to be Susie, and this is what her role is? Do you know what that process looks like, and is that system in place? Is it clear, so that you can be most effective? Because you want that process to be defined, so that you're able to turn that intake form into an enrollment, right? You want to get them in the door to boost your enrollment. Next slide. Oh, I'm sorry. Wait. I'm sorry. Go back. I'm so sorry. Also, how long does it take to respond? Think about, I know so many of when we work with state and federal programs, so many of the processes that we follow is when a parent turns something in, you have 30 days, you have 45 days, you have 90 days to get information back to them and to respond. How long does it take your program to respond? Don't hold on to those intake forms and wait until you need to make a contact with them, just to let them know that you have it, what things are looking like, so they understand. The other things to think about is making sure that there's those steps in place that help keep that contact with that family. Sometimes they fill out the intake form, it goes into your office, and then they never hear from you again until months and months away, and then they're already enrolled in another program. Try to keep that contact with the family, at least a minimum of maybe once a month, once every 3 weeks. Have some kind of contact with that family, so they know that you're still with them, right? That they're on your mind, you're with them, and where they're going to be going. So try to keep that constant contact with them. Okay, next slide. Grassroots outreach. We all love that because I think that's, you know, really Head Start is so good at that. That's one of your, you excel at that. So grassroots, what does that look like? Grassroots is community events. What kind of community events are available in your community that you can take advantage of to get your program name out there, to hopefully tell them all the amazing services that you provide for them? So that's movies in the park. How many of you go to movies in the park? How many of you go to concerts in the park? Those are all events that are happening around you that you can go take advantage of. You can go and wear your staff shirt, or you can maybe have an activity there for children, or bring flyers or postcards and really be present in that community. There's gathering places is another amazing way to help get your program out there. And that's, you know, you're going to libraries, going to and posting flyers, or, you know, inviting them to come see you, or going to a farmer's market. Farmers markets are great ways to have a table and have a little booth there for families walking by and share with them with their program. Have somebody to hand out those brochures and talk to the parents, and then maybe have a little activity on the other side of the table for the children to engage them, or have somebody walking around passing out flyers and getting them to come to your table, and then having something for the children while the staff are talking to parents. There's a lot of different things you can do. Libraries and parks, WIC offices. There's so many places where you can go and leave information that's helpful. So be creative, think outside the box, and get to those places. Marketing is a big piece of all of this, because as you see, flyers and brochures, all of that is involved in every process. So you want to make sure that when you're out there in your program, one, you're dressed appropriately, you're ready, and hopefully you have that beautiful staff shirt. But also when you're passing out flyers, make sure your flyers have that professional image on it. Make sure it's not a copy that's been Xeroxed and recopied 20 times and it looks really bad. Make sure it has that professional image that you want to put out there. And don't be afraid to talk to families. Go out there and talk to them. And we know you're good at doing that with the children. The parents are just bigger versions of those children. Get out there and talk with them and share your program. I think that's it on that slide. You want to go to the next slide? Oh, my favorite, this is Sally's favorite. I absolutely love open houses, and it's such a fun time. Now with COVID, obviously things have been a little bit different. If you are unable to host an actual event in person with all of your families and inviting people in for a normal open house, because most programs do open houses, think about trying to do one virtually so that you can have something to show families about your program with your kids in action, showing all the great things that the children are learning and doing. Family nights are another way to do that. If you can do them out, if you have a nice big yard, and you can do a family night out there for families, and it could be either a craft activity, or they can make a snack with their child, whatever it is. Having a family night and bringing all those families together at your center to show them, and then maybe even tell them to invite a friend. Bring a friend with you, bring a 3-year-old or bring a 4-year-old with you to come and see our program. There's a lot of different things you can do to host events at your site. Think outside the box, think safe about COVID, but have fun with it, involve your families, and most of all, involve the children, because the children get really excited about having visitors over, having guests in their classroom, and that obviously draws people and shows off your excellent program. So hosting an event is fun. Try it out.
Thank you, Sally. Yes, thank you so much, Sally. So you have the first 3 tips. Our 4th tip for the best way to market your program is social media. And I know everyone has different thoughts about it. Some people love it, some people hate it. But the one reason why we think this is a good tactic, and we've seen some we've seen it to be quite effective is because, first of all, it's free. And second, people are on social media. So globally, the average amount spent on any type of a social media platform is 2.5 hours a day. And I personally think that might even be a bigger number. People tend to kind of underreport how much time they're spending. So we know that people are there. And as Sally said, you know your family's the best. You know where they hang out, you know what they like to do, and you probably know what type of social media platforms they're on. So if they're younger families, for instance, they might be on Instagram. If they're older, it might be more on the Facebook side. While there's LinkedIn and TikTok and Pinterest and Clubhouse, we really think that Facebook and Instagram are the biggest bang for your buck in terms of time. They have the most users. So consider using those platforms and also explore different types of content. So you can do a lot of things that talk about your program, which is, of course, number one, you can show fun activities happening. You can show the dramatic play area or an art project, but also consider sharing other things beyond your program that would be helpful to your families. Thinking about what would make them excited. Maybe it's a resource, maybe it's information about something going on in the community, or even resharing funny, appropriate, funny kid videos and baby videos. It all can relate to your brand because it makes people smile. And really, we're all here for the kids. And the parents know that, of course, that you work with every day. Also, just a quick reminder to be sure to have photo releases if you plan to post any images or video of not only the children in your program, but also your staff members. So if you don't have a form, definitely take a look at some online. They can be very simple and you can adjust it for your program. And then most importantly, be consistent. If you do anything with social media, try to keep consistent. Maybe start with one platform and carve out, and I know you're so incredibly busy, but if there's a way to carve out maybe 1 hour a week that you focus on social, that would be a place to start. And next session, the next Brown Bag series, we'll go into more detail. It's actually devoted to social media, but this is a little taste to give you. And then the next slide, we will talk about number 5, the 5th way to promote your program is swag, and smart swag. So swag is like promotional items that have your logo, your program name on them. So some things to consider when you're thinking about that is it a product that is useful to a family? You can put a logo on pretty much anything you can imagine. One good idea that Sally has seen work really well is a toothbrush, which I didn't even think about it. I get mine from my dentist's office and I do use it, but a family is not going to throw away a toothbrush. So, and they see it every day for their child. So that's an idea of something that is affordable, but useful. And that family will keep seeing your program name over and over. I'm sure you all have your favorite items, things like pens and notepads. At community events, it's nice to give those types of things away. The other way to think about it is maybe there's something that you print that serves as a billboard, meaning when that family is out in the world, other people see your name. So perhaps it's a t-shirt or sunglasses or an umbrella. I also love the screens that you can put on cars to protect babies that has the program name on it. So we invite you to think outside the box and also be sure to budget for swag items. And maybe we don't always think about it, but it is marketing. So it can go into your marketing budget and you don't need a lot. A lot of these items are under $1, and the more you print, the cheaper it is. So it's smart to kind of think ahead and include it in your marketing budget. So that was really quick. Those are 5 tips that we have. Next slide, please. Now what we'd like to do is to invite you to join breakout rooms. Alejandra will be doing that. But what we would love for all of you to do is share ideas with each other. Talk about maybe what things have worked for you in marketing your program and growing your enrollment, and then maybe what things didn't work. Sometimes I think it's really important to learn from each other, and we can understand certain hurdles and challenges, and also some, I'm sure you all have very ingenious ideas. So we'll take about 10 minutes to share. And then when we come back, we'd love to hear from some brave souls and give away some prizes before our guest speaker. Thank you. Come back. I hope you had some fun talking with
That's what this is.
Okay. Great, we already have a volunteer. Is it Shavada? Am I pronouncing your name correctly?
Yes,
Or
ma'am.
Shavada?
Shavada.
Oh, good. All right, go ahead. The floor is yours.
Okay, thank you so much. My name is Shavada Dove. I am the family service worker at the California City Head Start in Kern County. My group had a really good session, and we had some really good ideas. So a large part of what was discussed was it seems like a lot of different Head Start programs are utilizing posting of flyers at various locations throughout their cities. That seems to be a big one. So like posting in laundromats, posting at grocery stores, bus stops, places like the park, places where families, word of mouth actually getting out into the community, talking to families, going to places where, you know, families might be. We had a really good one from someone in our group, her Head Start. They do open houses. She said they were doing them weekly, but they learned that weekly wasn't feasible for their specific program. So they started to do them monthly or as needed. Another really good one was utilizing your local WIC office. One person in our group said that their WIC office was still closed, so it wasn't working to have someone actually at the WIC office to hand out Head Start flyers, but they did talk to someone at the WIC office that sends the Head Start flyer out to families. Again, utilizing things such as the library, law enforcement as a partner, and again, just getting out into the community. I heard a lot that social media does not seem to be number one on the list with marketing the specific centers that were in our group. Yeah, so that's about it. But yeah, we had a really good session with some really good ideas.
I love that, Shavada. Thank you so much. And for being the very first one to volunteer, we are definitely going to give you, one second, a $50 gift card to Lakeshore. So thank you so much for sharing. And I also love that a lot of people are in the community and really on the ground, meeting families where they are. That's what we always want to do, is deliver messages to people where they're located, so they're not doing any additional work. So thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Right, who's up? Anyone, who's up next? Anyone else want to share some interesting ideas? All right, is it Mari or Mary?
It's Maddie.
Mari, go for it.
Hi, yeah. So in my group, we were just going over things at work. For them, they did say that social media is pretty much the best resource for them as far as getting out to the people in their community. We all kind of agree, just because with COVID, there's been restrictions as far as going out to go from door to door to contact people and see if they're interested in the service. So they said the best next option for them is using social media, that platform right there. They did say that prior to COVID, you know, going door to door was their number one way to get more applicants. But, you know, with the restrictions and all, that's kind of, you know, been a setback for them. I did let them know that, you know, I also felt social media was a good platform. I personally feel that posting, like, you know, because everybody has to go. I'm from Bakersfield, so basically our area covers, you know, all across Bakersfield and Kern County. So my center is actually located in East Bakersfield. So, you know, everybody's in charge of going to their own special area. And right now we're doing like a north, south, east, west. So the north, south, east, west part of where your center is located. So all around you, we have to find areas to go out and recruit. And I found it best to go to, like how she said, Shavana, laundry mats, posting. I'll go into like little stores in the neighborhoods and ask them if it's okay for me to post it outside, because they'll have billboards out there where you could post stuff. And, you know, they never say no, so they'll let me post it out there. Just different places like that. I know larger chain stores, they tend to not let you post outside, which is understandable. But besides that, I mean, for the most part, people are willing to let us post our signs or leave it on the countertop for their clients to see. I do agree with the WIC, you know, they're still not open. So another idea that I had, because a lot of WIC stores we have, right in the back or to the side of the WIC headquarters, there is usually a WIC store where participants go and they get their groceries. So I've gone to those stores and just asked if I could leave the flyers there, and they've agreed. So if you're not able to directly get them from WIC, then you could get them when they go out to the store.
I love that. I think the stores are a great idea. I'm hearing a lot of community outreach. It's also nice to hear that social has been helpful while things weren't as open as in the past. So thank you for sharing, Mari.
You're welcome.
What else has anyone found to be effective with bringing in new families and increasing your enrollment?
In Colusa County, we've been doing children's fairs. We have like 3 separate communities, actually 4, but the 3 of them we have centers in. And we've been invited Ampla Health, the Victim's Witness, CHP just came to our last one, which we had on Friday. But what we do is everybody who participates brings a children's activities, and we do it during the week. So we're getting the families that are not already enrolled in our programs, and we've been getting inquiries and establishing a community relationship at the same time.
That's really cool. Yeah, I mean, connecting with people like CHP or other organizations in the community is a great way to reach even more people outside of your immediate touch points. Thank you so much, Joseph. And I think we have time for one more before we get to the raffles. Anyone else want to share?
I can share.
All right, Laura, thank you so much.
We've also really connected with our library system, and they have been handing out flyers as well as us attending like different network group baby showers have been great for our home-based program. And I did share with my group that we have actually started advertising at 2 of our DMVs in our area. It does have a cost, but we know that everybody has to go to the DMV and we can't help but read those. And it's we get 30 seconds ads 4 times an hour. So we're really excited. We just started this, so we can't say like it's been effective, but we're going to look also to see if we can get advertisement on garbage trucks, because we know garbage trucks go into every neighborhood. So we're really trying to think of where we can visually put out everything. But I think the biggest thing that our group said was our word of mouth families. And one person did share that they did a $5 gift card to Target if the family brought in 5 families and they had to meet requirements and they had to get enrolled to be able to get that gift card. So I thought that was an interesting idea to look at too.
Wow, yes. I mean, I think, you know, in terms of advertising as a marketing tactic, we didn't cover it today, but I think these are awesome. A DMV, yeah, you're kind of stuck there. So you have a captive audience. That's super smart. The garbage trucks, I love it. Yeah, thank you so much for sharing. I think that a lot of people might be able to take those ideas and run with them. And as for the referral program, word of mouth for sure is your best marketing tactic. So if you can encourage your families in some way, monetarily or otherwise, I think that's a smart strategy too. Well, thanks everyone for participating and sharing. And now for the good stuff, before we get to our esteemed guest speaker, I'm going to toss it over to my colleague, Elsa, to give away some goodies. Go for it.
Yes, our next expert that we have the pleasure of introducing to all of you. Ed, do you want to kick it off with the intro?
Sure, love to. So I have the pleasure of introducing our esteemed guest speaker. So in 2014, Rachel was the very first woman of color elected to the city of Sierra Madre City Council. And in 2017, she was elected by her colleagues to actually serve as mayor. And then again, she had a second stint in December 2020. She's currently the Vice President and Chief Operating Officer of PACE in Los Angeles, the Pacific Asian Consortium in Employment. So they're a nonprofit community development organization that serves over 50,000 people per year. And they really focus on the underrepresented and the Asian Pacific Islander communities. They have areas of service around job training, employment, business development. The key factor, though, is they have an early education department. So they have Head Start and Early Head Start. They do asset building and energy and environmental services. The really cool thing is Rachel is also on the board of our organization, Child 360, and she serves as our secretary. Very lucky to have her. She's the president of the Asian Pacific Policy and Planning Council, the board chair of the Foothill Workforce Development Policy Board, which of course workforce is really the key around getting the economy back to where it needs to be. And we know child development and quality childcare is at the forefront of workforce development right now. She's the co-chairperson of the board of the National Coalition of Asian Pacific American Community Development. Also a board member for the Community Development Financial Institution Coalition. And just because she's got so much spare time on her hands, she also serves as the first vice president of the California League of Cities Women's Caucus, and also appointed to the State Board of Food and Agriculture by the Governor of California. So it is my proud honor to introduce you to Rachel Arizmendi.
Thank you, Ed, for that introduction. Way too much information. I was telling him, just cut out what you can, but I appreciate it. I'm honored that you're introducing me. Thank you to Child 360 for co-sponsoring with Region 9. Ed, I know that Ed Condon is here somewhere. Thank you for your leadership in Region 9. I think this is a great way to pull people together. We have one, shortest attention spans, but two is how do we fit these kinds of professional development opportunities into our workday. So this is really an honor for me to be here today. What Ed did not share is that I was the director for our Head Start program for over 14 years. And so I definitely understand what all of you are doing and how important our work is. But really is how do we get those families through the door? And I think Sally and Kristen did a great job with those 5 tips. It's a quick, easy way to think about how do we intentionally recruit and strategize to bring families in. I love hearing some of the feedback from the groups because, of course, those are some of the things that I was going to share also. But I want to underscore the importance of the reputation, word of mouth, customer service, and the relationship. At the end of the day, it really is about the neighborhoods that we're serving, the communities that we're serving in, and understanding who we are serving, our families, and connecting with them. Because we know once we provide good service, it's someone telling their neighbor, you know what, since you have a 4-year-old, since you have a 2-year-old, you should really take into this program because I learned so much through it. Our children are well prepared for K through 12. And I, again, do not underestimate how important that word of mouth is. But I don't want to duplicate a lot of things that were already shared today, but I do want to highlight some things. One is, do not reinvent the wheel. There are so many organizations and entities, whether it's government or not, that serve our population that we're looking for. So why not go to those places? We are lucky here at PACE, at Pacific Asian Consortium Employment, that we not only have our Head Start in the same building, our main office, but also the Energy Assistant Bill Paying Program. I'm sure all of you have heard of LIHEAP or HEAP. That's all throughout the nation, so it's not just California. I would encourage you to find who your local HEAP, of course my lights go out, who your local HEAP organizations are, because again, many of the families that are going through, they're looking how to pay their electrical bill, and it's through an emergency. We have our offices actually in the same building, so we tend to have our flyers that are there, as well as our job training and workforce development department. So knowing who goes into those programs that are looking for services, how do we connect with them? I heard WIC mentioned many times. That's actually where I started. I'm a registered dietitian by education. So WIC offices, I understand they're closed right now, but how do we partner with them? Because they are already doing outreach. They're also doing marketing. And they also want to know, who are you serving in Head Start, early Head Start, that we may be able to access, because they do not always overlap. Sometimes you're finding that during your intake and you make those references and referrals, but how do we get them on the front end? So the social media, I'm going to connect this in a little bit with social media, because we're finding here at PACE, it works okay. How it works better is through, again, this partnership and these cross collaborations. Can you talk to your LIHEAP folks and who the organization is there and say, hey, as you're pushing out some of your Instagram posts, your Facebook posts, can you also include one about our Head Start program, and vice versa? Because our families at Head Start can benefit. Again, the example here is with the Energy Assistance Program. Just look up LIHEAP or Home Assistance Program, sorry. And just look that up and you can find who is there locally that you might be able to partner with. I'll also share a couple other things in California, Department of Social Services, but if you're in other states, who are they? Your kinship cares, because they're working with the foster families. We already know what automatic eligibility looks like. How do we cross-refer with entities that are already doing this work? And I think it also goes without saying with preschools and K through 12, especially early Head Start folk providers there, are you connecting with your local preschools and your K through 12? Because they usually don't just have one child, they have multiple children. And how do we catch them so that we can get them into our programs early on before they're into kindergarten? Given our time limit, the last thing I just wanted to highlight too is some of the traditional, and I was just talking to our enrollment coordinator earlier today, and I called it kind of our old school traditional recruitment. And I would not underestimate that. I think it's Shavonda that shared about flyers. We actually send flyers out on a monthly basis to our doctor's offices, our dental offices. We still have them in the laundromats. We still have them in our local grocery stores, and to continue having that communication piece, because yes, social media works with some people, some residents, and some potential new clients, but it's not always everybody. So how do you cover that entire market with different means of communicating out? So again, I wouldn't underestimate that. We still put banners up. We still put banners up with those that are willing to put our banners in their areas, because the schools are local there. We have folks and families that are just walking in the neighborhoods and finding that we are learning that they learned about us because they saw a banner. So I just wanted to encourage you to not dismiss the old school or traditional ways of recruiting and enrolling, because all of those I think still work, and it's important that we are really reaching the communities where they are. So I do have a couple other things. One thing I will share that I learned today that I didn't know what we did is, whatever database you're using, we're using Child Plus. You might have some folks that are in Child Plus this weekend or this week for their training in Las Vegas, but you have your database of old addresses. We still push out emails that say, hey, we're recruiting now. Hey, do you have any other children, or do you have friends and family? And I think it's a database that we know are families that we've already worked with. You know, do they have others that they can either refer, or that they have younger children? So with that, I want to end it there. I'd love if there's any questions or comments, but I also want to allow time, because I know you're at the end of lunch. Hopefully you're able to actually have your brown bag and eat it. But thank you so much for having me today. It really has been an honor to be able to connect with you.
Yay. Well, please put any questions in the chat, or if you want to raise your hand. In the meantime, thank you so much, Rochelle, for everything and all the great tips, to our presenters, Sally and Kristen. Very excited for having this spaces for us to network and talk to each other about amazing ideas. And I know that Kristen is going to add the 5 tips, so we could always remember them. Definitely maximizing your intake process. We have the grassroots Do not forget all those wonderful ideas and strategies, and then definitely hosting. There's a lot of great tools online now that a lot of us are getting used to the virtual world. It's not rare to be like, let's do a online open house or registration, and then people could also meet each other. I think the beauty about not being next to each other, you could still make those great connections, and even like having like a breakout for families to get to know each other, say hello, who their child is. That's also a great idea to start building that community in your programs. Wonderful. So now we are very excited to see you next month. We are going to be on October 25th, and we're going to go over some social media tips for you. And excited to get you all back together to share those wonderful ideas, that energy, and then also the support for each other. Like, you got this. So thank you so much for participating and being with us. And for always our thanks to our Region 9 collaboration. We are very excited that we get to do this together and get to meet all of you. So thank you to Ed, Condon, and Alejandra for all your support and making this event happen. Is there anything else on our Region 9 partners? If not.
No, thank you, Elsa. And thank you everyone for attending, and Rochelle for the great presentation, and all of Child 360. And we'll see you all on the next call on October 25th, session 3, show us your bag.
Yes, and then, and I know you did post it, Alejandra. We're gonna contact the winners. They're gonna get an email. So just stay tuned. Thank you everyone for participating. All right, have a great day. Take care.